Penguin presents Techbitch by Lucy Sykes and Joe Piazza, read for you by Katherine Kellgren. For the boys, Ewan, Heathcliff and Titus. For John and Tracy. For all the Imogen Tates. Always forgive your enemies. Nothing annoys them so much. Oscar Wilde. In order to be irreplaceable, one must always be different. Coco Chanel. Prologue. September 5th, 1999. The pretty young associate editor crossed her bare legs nervously, allowing her right foot to bounce up and down. She worried her black boucle pencil skirt might be a touch too short for sitting in the front row. By most measures, she was perfectly ordinary in this crowd of black-clad men and women in fine Italian fabrics cut in French lines made with an American sensibility. She looked the part. Still, she couldn't believe she was actually there. Never in a million years could she have imagined she would be sitting in the front row of a New York City fashion show during Fashion Week. She flipped the heavy vellum invitation over one more time to read the embossed gold writing. There was no mistake. Her seat was 11A. She was in the right place at the right time. At 26, Imogen Tate had already been poring over the photographs from these fashion shows with her bosses at Moda magazine for 5 years, but she had never seen one in the flesh. This plum assignment for the Oscar de la Renta show only came her way because the senior editors were overscheduled. Bridget Hart, a striking black model and one of Imogen's 3 roommates, was walking in this show. Imogen glanced at her watch. 5:30. It was scheduled to start at 5, but the seats weren't even close to being filled. Despite Bridget promising her that nothing ever began on time during Fashion Week, Imogen arrived promptly at 4:45. Best to be early. She considered getting up to say hello to her friend Audrey, a publicist for Bergdorf Goodman, who was chatting with a reporter from the Trib about 10 seats away, but Imogen worried someone would steal her assigned seat. She'd been warned about one particularly vigilant new money socialite who could never secure front row and would hover along the periphery waiting for her chance to pounce if someone didn't show up. A piece of hair fell into Imogen's face and she quickly tucked it back behind her ear. Only last week she had let her new colorist persuade her to return to her natural blonde after a series of more dramatic, darker shades. It was understated. Chic was the right word to describe her new life in America. Ouch! Imogen lifted her foot and scowled at the paparazzo who had trampled on her exposed little toe in the very best and only strappy snakeskin sandals that she owned. "You're in the way," he sneered. "I'm in my seat," Imogen countered in her most distinguished British accent. She added an emphasis on my. It was indeed her seat and her name on the invitation. That meant something. The fashion industry was an insular community of designers, editors, retail buyers, and select heiresses. Access to these kinds of events was allotted stingily and could easily be taken away. "Well, your seat is in my way," the ornery photographer said before darting across the plastic-covered runway to take a picture of Anna Wintour, the editor-in-chief of Vogue, as she gracefully took her own place across the runway from Imogen. With Anna seated, the show could finally begin. Security men in bulky black turtlenecks carrying large walkie-talkies ushered the photographers into a holding pen at the end of the runway. All photos from the show were under strict embargo, pending approval from the designer. Imogen had a little point-and-shoot camera in her bag, but she didn't dare take it out. She had taken plenty of pictures outside the tents in Bryant Park and planned to drop the film at one of those one-hour developing places on her way back to work. From inside her purse, she removed a small black notebook. Assistants in head-to-toe black stripped the industrial plastic from the runway, revealing a pristine
Sample complete. Ready to continue?